Welcome back to Talkin Shop, the podcast where we dive into the realities of business ownership, manufacturing, and building with precision. So that was a good one today, wasn't it?
It's good.
Yeah. Today's episode obviously is all about how to stand out when others are pulling back and how CNC technology gives you the edge when the economy gets tight. As always, I'm your host, Brandon Mombardo, here with 2 legs, 1 calf muscle, Nick Peters.
Hello, Brandon.
How you doing?
If I was any better, I'd be you.
That's true.
It's very true.
How are you doing? You're out of your boot. You got 2 calf muscles yet or no?
Probably 1 7/8.
1 7/8. We're here with 2 legs, 1 7/8 calf muscle.
It's getting better every day.
Every day.
I did play golf last week and it survived mostly.
I was going to ask you about that. We had teased it on the show that we were going to see how you were doing last week, and we forgot to talk about it. So how did it go, Nick?
That actually went really good.
Good.
Yeah. Beat Chad, of course. I mean, I could do that with
Did you beat him?
Of course.
Okay, there it is, folks. Now you know. Chad did not beat Nick.
I could do it with my eyes closed.
Oh, wow. That's a bold statement.
Playing golf with your eyes closed isn't very easy, but no, Chad's gotten a lot better in the last few months, so
Yeah.
he might catch me eventually. I can still run faster than him, unless he'll never literally catch me.
Speaking of that, that's what this topic is about, is while others are slowing down or cutting corners or waiting it out.
It's a great segue.
I thought so. Waiting it out. How many times do you hear that? I'm just going to wait it out. Really, you have a choice. You can either pull back, obviously, or push forward with a purpose, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Is we're going to jump into the difference between, kind of hanging out and waiting, or being the person that's kind of pushing ahead and forging and forcing your competition, because the guy who forces himself forward is the one that everybody's chasing. So, or gal.
Right.
Guy or gal.
There's only one correct answer here.
There's only one correct answer. 56.
Sure.
I don't know if that's true.
I have some questions for you.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. We can do questions and comments, and then we'll go into this episode.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
I guess it's not necessarily a question.
Okay.
But the problem we have here is we cannot keep up with our demand, but cannot get financing for an industrial machine.
I'd say that's a good comment. I can't speak for your financing struggles, of course. Whatever your struggle is, that why you can't get financing there. But I would encourage everyone, if you haven't, to check out our financing options. And I think a lot of people's struggles is because traditional banking caps new businesses. And so a lot of times, you get this new business going, it's awesome, so much work to do, and nobody wants to take a risk on you because you're a new business. And so it kind of handcuffs you, like in this person's case, where you just so much work to do, so much demand, but can't keep up with it. So if you haven't checked out our financing, I encourage you to do it, because our financing options that we have, specifically through Geneva, I would say is arguably some of the most aggressive financing options out there, or source, of financing out there. Because for one, they've developed a reputation of working with ShopSabre. They've done a lot of business with us, and therefore they're confident in the ROI that this equipment produces. And so they're willing to take a bigger risk. And so specifically, they have programs in place for startup and new businesses, where a lot of banks do not do startups and new businesses. So definitely worth checking out. We actually have a promo going of $99 for 6 months, which is pretty tough to beat when you think about it. Like, for basically $600,
Right.
you
Without a
can
doubt.
have a machine. And I mean, there's businesses out there that I've talked to that, and it's not uncommon. This isn't a rarity, but we talk to a lot of businesses that pay for their machine in 6 to 12 months. So it's like, if you can basically rent, right, the machine for 6 months for $99 a month, you can almost pay for a machine using the machine. So yeah, it's kind of cool. So hopefully that, I don't know, it wasn't really a question, but it was a comment, and hopefully that's a good explanation of what to do next.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously gives a good explanation and kind of understanding on why it's different and how they can do what they do, right?
Right.
Number 2, on the IS series, is it 110 volt power?
Is the IS Series 110? No. Sorry, I had to process the question. No, it's going to require at least 208 to 240 volt power. It is single phase though, and I think and maybe that was the intent of the question, is because people look at okay, there's 110 and then there's 220, and a lot of people think 220 automatically means 3 phase, but 110 and 220 can both be single phase. So if you're asking if is it truly 110, which is like your outlet in your wall, right? Like being able to plug your computer in or coffee machine, then no, it's not 110. But if you're asking, is it single phase? Yes, it can run on single phase. We actually offer the IS in both single or 3-phase. So that's kind of a cool little, option there, depending on, some people's businesses have way more 3-phase than they have single phase available. So they'd rather run it on 3-phase. But if you do not have 3-phase, we have solutions there for you, depending on what your needs are and your demand. But really, any power constraints can typically be overcome by one of our machines. So
Perfect. That's all I have today.
only 2?
Just those 2.
Oh, bummer.
That's it.
I was really getting in the groove of it there.
Have more next week.
More next week. Uh-oh. We have a slight problem here.
You think it's blocking the camera?
It's probably blocking the camera because it's stuck on the mount. Do you think it'll fall? Looks like it's going to fall.
Think so?
I don't think it's going to fall.
I don't know. I better go move it.
You're going to have to go move it.
We're not like blocked out the whole time. What are the chances? I can get
You got it stuck on the camera. That was pretty impressive. There it is. For anybody who's not watching on the video, they're just listening. Nick had to go up to the camera and remove the piece of paper he chucked at it because it got stuck on the camera mount. So,
And if you guys noticed, that calf was working really good, so got up there quick. Got back to my chair fast.
cat-like.
Good to go.
It was awesome. Just the stupidity of us.
Yep.
I can't believe any of you guys listen to us. But
They're definitely here for you.
they're here for you, I think. Yeah, I mean, I want to jump into this week's topic because we talked a little bit about tough times. And, I want to talk about why tough times are the best times to step up or level up or whatever you want to call it in your business. But a lot of times when the economy softens, people go silent. I've been in sales a long time. Many shops go silent during that. They, will cut their hours or they'll delay upgrades or stop marketing. They do all these things because of the economy. And it creates a gap. And that's what I want to talk about today is because, a void really in the market, where customers still have needs, and that's the gap I'm talking about. Like not doing the same work, right? Or, it gives customers, for one, fewer options, right? So now your customers are forced to go to your competition, or you're kind of forcing them away from your business, which then just further softens your market, right? And the businesses that rise up during these moments are the ones that tend to gain market share. And so that's why I like to talk about this because I think there's an opportunity for a lot. I think one thing to point towards is like the home industry, okay? I think the first thing to say is money drives everything first. You have to have the money to do it, right? But putting yourself in a position, whether it's, like I said, with this financing option, where you have 6 months and $99, or being able to level up while things are softer, can actually give you tremendous power. Because I talk about like the home market. You think about how many people flip houses for a living. When do they buy houses most commonly?
When they're cheap and when the market's slow.
Right.
Yeah.
When things get soft and they buy it and then they turn that into profit and they grow and they do things and then they have money for future projects, right? So, again, those looking to gain market share, or earn new clients or build a reputation as a reliable partner are generally the ones stepping up during these softer markets. And go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think going back to what you said previously, be the people that are taking that work from others, right? Not giving it up. You don't want to send your people to other companies to get the work done, right? Because what reason are they going to have to come back at that point? Like if they go to somebody else and get just as good a work done for them in just a timely manner while you had to tell them no and push them aside, like they don't really have a real good reason to come back, do they? If they're continuing to get what they need from the same person the right amount of time?
I agree with that. Like that's huge. Like being the person that they can go to, but giving you that versatility to be able to say yes is huge. And that, that starts with this, topic of CNC, right? What we do. CNCs aren't just a tool. And I think a lot of people look at them as just another tool in the shop. But it can be a real differentiator over, so many other shops. Because like if you look at what you're bringing to the table, with having a CNC machine or having the ability to say yes. Like it's not just about saying yes to that job. It's about the versatility it gives you to say yes to more jobs. You know, we had that customer several months ago say he's becoming known as the shop that can say yes to everything.
Yep.
And that's what the CNC does for you. And, you know, I think about like Hatch exhibits. You know, again, I've shouted them out a few times on the show, but shout out to Hatch again, because Hatch exhibits is a perfect example of somebody who does not allow the circumstances around them to slow them down. And what I mean by that is like they specifically specialized in exhibits, right? In shows and events. And I apologize because I think Hatch actually just changed their name or is in the middle of rebranding. So I apologize. I just know them as Hatch exhibits because that's what they've been doing it for me. But I know they've expanded. And the reason they did, and this is where this is going, is during COVID, when exhibits got shut down and everything got shut down, they were one of the few companies that didn't just close doors and, can't do nothing. They utilized their CNC machine to pivot, right? And they were closed for a weekend, I think is what Chris had told me. He closed down on like a Friday and was going to be, wasn't sure what they were going to do. And then by Monday, he was back open because he found that he could help out by creating, things like signage and things like the barrier, the shields, and whatnot. Yep. And he actually became a PPE manufacturer utilizing the equipment because like he said, he goes, our guys are talented, but they're not like specialized in that, right?
Yep.
But the machine could do all the labor there, right? So it was a matter of just doing what they already do, programming and things. And they were able to really sustain their income. And eventually things came back, right? As we all know, the world kind of returned to a more normalized function, and his trade show business came back. But now he's got two businesses there, and it's like that's where it was born out. Now he has the ability to say yes to so much, and he's expanded so much. He added the fiber laser, so pretty pumped about that. But it's like his ability to utilize equipment he already owns to fund future equipment and future growth is like because he's not afraid to step up when everybody else is stepping back. And in uncertain times, buyers are more cautious. Like I think that's natural. They want speed, but they want precision, they want reliability, and really that's what CNCs give you when you think about it. I mean, it's faster turnaround, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, it gives you obviously like you said, the ability to output more.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can expand into things you never maybe thought or saw yourself doing, right? Like, do you think Hatch ever thought he would be doing that kind of stuff?
I imagine
not. When it slowed down, but obviously, like you said, he was able to have that versatility to step into a new business and a new avenue of the business or whatever. Now he's got both of those revenue streams coming in. Right.
And I think the thing about like the CNC is it's not just faster turnaround because obviously it does things. I mean, we had a customer post the other day, a cabinet company. I don't remember. I wish I remember the statement. Maybe you'll remember it. But he posted something along the lines of like the machine did something in 4 minutes that normally took him 40 or something like that.
Yeah, it was something like it was definitely over 10 times faster.
Yeah,
or like 10% of the time. There wasn't exactly.
Yeah, it was an example of it.
Pretty close.
Yeah, and he was just blown away. He's like, the cabinets go together better than they would have ever before, and I'm doing it in 10 times faster. And then we had another customer like next day say like he produced $130 an hour more revenue because of the machine.
Yeah, and I think the first guy you were talking about even said like he was hesitant or like didn't want to go away from cutting with his saw.
Yeah.
But obviously knew that he had to and is obviously thankful that he did. But he was one of those guys that was kind of old school, like cutting things by hand and realized he had to go to automation.
And it's cool because like the repeatable accuracy that you gain on a CNC is really where people a lot of times downplay that. Like, yeah, you might be good with a tape measure and a saw or whatever, but like CNC automation is just, it's so repeatable.
Yep.
And like that guy said, the cabinets go together better than they ever have before. And he's been doing this a long time, right? And, the less rework is what I think about is, if you're anything like me, I'm going to mess something up. Like I'm just not as good with some of that stuff. So especially if you have to hire me, if I'm the guy you're hiring to work in your shop, you're probably going to have some rework. So you're going to have less waste. You're going to have less rework, not having to hire a guy like me. And again, when things, are done in a slower manner, right? A manual process, if you will. Your CNC workflow becomes a trust builder, if anything, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're getting things done right away, right? And not having to redo things.
Correct. like, do it right the first time. Isn't that what my dad used to always tell me, right?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
do it right the first time. You know, that's your advantage with the CNC is you're going to do it right the first time. And so, you know, automation really equals a leaner manufacturing, right? It's a stronger business, if you will, because you're not full of extra fluff. And I think, especially when the economy does slow or soften, right? Having CNC allows you to run more consistent shifts because, again, it's not labor-based, right?
Right.
It reduces the reliance on labor shortages. So when people aren't willing to do the work, you don't have to worry about not being able to grow your business, right?
It's always going to be there doing the work.
Yep. And then you keep your overhead in check. And that's the big thing for me as we've grown as a business. Like, that's what our automation out in the shop has done for us is like, we just reduce the overhead expenses because your overhead never stops growing.
Right.
And every year, cost of living goes up. So does electricity cost. So does everything else we do here. But you can stay very productive and scalable without having to like add a bunch of people. And then the real advantage is during those slow times or those slow periods, you can still say yes to more jobs, like without having to worry about, you know, can we do it? The machine is more versatile. The other nice thing is you're not taking on more costs. So when things are a little slower, like a big job doesn't disrupt, you know, how many businesses, their labor force is based on the work. And suddenly, you know, you've scaled back, right? Keep scaling back because we're slow. And then suddenly one job hits and it's a massive job. And now you're not tooled up correctly, right?
Right.
Where with having a machine, you can just ramp that machine up.
And I think too, sometimes people take that the wrong way too. Like, you're adding a machine, so you're going to just get rid of employees.
Yeah.
Which I don't think really, it doesn't really apply. Like, you're getting a machine that's going to be more productive and do things quicker for you. So you can allow your employees that you have to do other productive things in the meantime, right? So now you can take on twice as many jobs in a week because you have a machine cutting it and have the employees doing the other things that typically were, you know, being done while nothing else was being done, right? So your employees can be, say they're putting together cabinets.
Yep.
While your machine is cutting another job of cabinets for them to put together later instead of cutting cabinets and having your guys put them all together manually. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have your employees doing other things that are still productive while the machine is producing more.
Well, that's a huge part of it because, as you said, I think people who think you're going to just that, oh, I don't want to have to let Johnny go. I don't want to let, you know, Timmy go. You're not. Like, for one, as a business owner, you can be more, I don't know, I don't want to call it picky, but I'm going to call it picky. You can be a little bit pickier with who you hire because you don't need as many people maybe, right? So the advantage to it is if you have a good crew now, you don't have to change that core group or that fundamental group that you have there. Like, you can just stick with what you're doing, but those people can do more, you know, I don't know, important.
I was gonna say things that they enjoy doing more.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say, like, you can put more of the like success of the business on their shoulders, because instead of this really good employee of yours working on the table saw 9 hours a day, they're only working on the machine 2 hours a day.
Right.
And then they can use their skills on the rest of the stuff, and whether that's product design or if that's, you know, putting things together or talking to customers or, you know, the next phase of it, finishing the, you know, parts or, you know, whatever. But I just feel like it gives you the ability to utilize your good employees in an even better way.
Yep.
And really the one thing I love about CNC machines is, like, while your competition starts to quote longer lead time, especially when things pick up, right? You're still able to deliver next week or whatever. You know, that's how you start to win, is you start to take the lead time over, and especially when things slow in the, you know, economy, lead times seem to get longer because people carry less inventory.
Sure.
And so it's like you can still produce things in a quick turnaround. So again, when things are soft for everybody else, it's maybe not as soft for you because you're able to be the, you know, the difference.
Yep.
So the one thing about it is, though, is perception is ultimately the power, right? In the eyes of your customers really is what you need to look at. And having CNC equipment can give them a different perception. It shows that you've invested, for one. I mean, I think there's a lot of companies that do look at that stuff. It shows you're capable. One, if you have a new customer come to your shop and look at it, they start to see technology. And they start to see that you're forward thinking, right? And you're stable. I mean, it's a real world concern. Like when we have worked with vendors in the past, like obviously we brought a lot of our stuff in-house now, like our milling and whatnot, we do all in-house. But we used to use another milling company. And one thing that we looked at when we were hiring was, is it automated to the point where if somebody quits, is it going to affect our production? And so some of your bigger customers want to know that.
Right.
If you're trying to pick up contract work, like your builders and whatnot might want to know, can you sustain growth, right? Are you stable? People want to do business with companies that look and operate like they've got their stuff figured out.
100%.
Right? I mean, nobody likes to work and operate with people who look like a circus. Am I right?
Sure. It's very right. Very correct.
Because it's a perception that you're not taken seriously, right? And so I think the CNC helps you look and act like an expert because you are.
Right. Well, and I think that's too why our sales guys are so big on having people come here and visit when they're working through the sales process, right?
Yep.
Like they can see the quality of everything that happens here.
100%.
Like it's no different than going into any other business and seeing, you know, if you're going to see something you're going to purchase and you see the high quality equipment they're using to manufacture, and just every process that they're doing, you can see the amount of quality and effort and attention to detail that's put into it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think here's the one that sticks with me the most is, because I'm a sales guy. I mean, really at the end of the day, like I love sales. That's like one of my favorite things. But you need to take the lead now. And I know there's a lot of people that are like, well, duh. But no, like seriously, take the lead now because you're going to reap the benefits later. And having a CNC machine gives you the ability to take that lead now. Rather than waiting, oh, we're not, we're too backed up. You can just say yes. And when the economy rebounds, because it always does, right? It's just one of those things where it's going to ebb and flow and it's never going to be right and it's never going to be the right time. But if you just say yes, the shops who keep pushing are already going to be ahead.
That's the biggest thing. You're never going to be playing catch up, right?
You won't. It's, the thing that I always remind people of is if you take a boat to one side of the lake and put a sail up and wait on the wind to blow you across the lake versus the boat sitting right next to it who's got a motor on it, just, clipping along. Maybe not wide open, but just clipping along. Even if it's not everything it's got, it's just clipping along. 9 out of 10 times, the boat with the boater is going to beat the other one across the lake unless that wind is really howling.
Right.
Right? So assume the wind is the economy. When the economy is really howling, yeah, you can be successful naturally. But using technology will help you get across that lake a little faster.
Right. And more consistently, right?
Right.
You always know that you're going to get to the other side.
And if you run into a big wave, it doesn't put you 10 steps back.
Right.
Right? And so I think it's important for people to consider that because while others are playing catch up as things get going and you're already now producing more, serving more people, growing faster, because if you take the work while you can, when the work or as the wind starts to blow, starts to compound, you're going to only be further along.
Right.
So I think the easy thing for me to tell you is ShopSabre machines are built for this, right? This is what they're built for. They're designed to help you scale smart, stay lean, and get more done in less time. And that's the difference in ShopSabre versus a lot of companies out there. And I know that there's a million CNC companies to choose from, and people always think they're all the same. But like this is what really I think people need to consider is that ShopSabre was built around that fundamental foundation, right? Like, yes, there's other machines out there. There's bigger ones, there's more expensive ones, there's smaller ones, and there's cheaper ones, right? Like all of those things are true. But what we really built our company around was for the, if you will, common man, right? The guy and gal who is trying to grow their business, who is 1 to 10 people, and they're like, that's what we built the company around. Now, we've been fortunate that mentality of building a product for those people has grown into large corporate, but the reality is like we didn't build the company around the idea of that we're going to go earn the business of, Amazon. Like, do we do business with them? Sure, right? But like, I'm looking for the everyday shop that's looking to grow because at the end of the day, that's where the most success comes from in the world. Is like it's the guy doing the work.
Right.
And I love watching shops grow, and I love helping a company go from the struggles of everyday cutting and whether you're trying to make signs by hand or outsourcing them to being able to like finally control your own destiny. And that's really what we're about, is like, we're a CNC machine for every single person, right? We have a machine for every budget almost, but it's about like tough times don't last, right? But strong businesses always do. And that's really what this comes down to. And I know people say tough times don't last, tough people do. And it's the same thing. Like strong businesses will keep moving forward when everyone else is stalling out and when everybody else is starting to run out of wind in their sails, right? Because it's easy to be successful when everybody's successful.
Right, right.
But it's tough when things get soft. It's easy for everybody to like clam up. Oh, nope, not the time now, because everybody else is doing it. Don't follow the crowd, because don't wait until you're told it's safe. Because for one, 90% of people aren't told it's safe till after all the good stuff has been scooped up, right?
Yeah, just don't be afraid to step forward and step out in front, right?
You got to lead.
Step out and lead.
Yeah, you got to lead.
Don't
You got to
follow.
lead from the front. Obviously, your CNC investment typically isn't a risk. It's your advantage. And if it's a risk, it means that maybe you need to look at other aspects of your business first, right? But, you know, really for me, that's what this was about. Is just like, don't allow so many little things to control your destiny. And at the end of the day, the CNC machine can be a big part of your growth. You know, unless you're going to sell your business or walk away from your business entirely or shut it down, like, you still got to do work tomorrow. So even if it's not growing at the rate it was 5 years ago or 4 years ago or 3 years ago or 1 year ago or 10 years ago, whatever, like start looking at where are you going to be in 5 years, 6 years, 10 years from now? Where do you want to be? And you have to start planning for that. So yeah, that's kind of,
You got to kind of have a goal in mind, right?
right. You gotta chase your goals.
Can't just go into it blindly all the time.
Yeah. And that kind of takes me into my motivational quote of the week, because it fits right along with this. And it's, if somebody offers you an amazing opportunity, but you're unsure if you can do it, say yes, and then learn how to do it later, right? Fake it till you make it.
It's funny, that kind of reminded me of taking the job here,
Yeah?
to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know anything about what the hell you guys do here.
Yeah, fair.
I was like, sure, why not? Seems fun. We'll figure it out. Like you
Yep.
said, fake it till you make it, right?
Right.
I mean,
But it's the truth. And I think most people need to think about that in their life, because that statement, fake it till you make it, can seem like a bad thing.
right.
And it can be if you're doing it wrong. But like the reality is, everything you've ever done in your life, you didn't know how to do it before you started doing it, right? Like you had to learn how to ride a bike.
As long as you have that willingness to learn and do it, right?
Right.
And get smarter by listening and paying attention to what you're doing.
It's like walking, you know, as a kid. When you think about like learning to walk was a tough task when you were 1.
Yep.
And then learning to drive is scary. Like, are you scared to drive your car?
No.
Right.
I'm not like, you're just used to it, right?
Right.
I'm scared of other people on the road.
Right,
But
yeah.
as far as driving, no, it's just like, you just know how to do it.
You
hop
get
and
in
go.
the car and you do it. It's natural. But it's the same with your business. And like you, as your job, when you change jobs and you think about it, like you made a big career, like cold turkey career change.
Yep. And had no idea
Right.
what I was getting into.
But now you wish you didn't. So,
well, like I said, may have said yes to something else, like you just suggested. But we can talk about that later.
bye.
We'll figure that out.
We're gonna have a new Luigi on the show next week. No, in all seriousness though, like it's that mentality of, you know, it's always easier to say no to something new and new opportunity, right? Like
For sure.
adding the CNC machine is scary to people because they don't know what they're doing. And that's where companies like ShopSabre is important to you, because you're investing in a company that is built around making you successful. And
Right.
it's, you know, it's understanding the people you're working with and the support that comes along with it and everything else that we do, versus a company that really is just interested in selling you something and disappearing, you know? And,
sure.
and that's why like having CNC automation is a scary thing, because how do you know you're getting a good one versus a bad one, right? When you
Right.
don't know anything about it. And that's where trusting people that are willing to educate you and talk to you, and you can tour our facility and check it out. So long story short,
While it might be a scary step to take,
right.
don't be afraid of that step.
Correct,
right?
exactly.
Don't let it hold you back.
Right, exactly. Don't be scared to take the step, right? It's okay to be scared.
Yep.
It's something new, but you were scared to ride a bike. You were scared to take the first step when you were walking. You were scared to start your new job.
Yep, for sure.
You've found success in all those things, you know. Well, I guess I can't say that you can walk, you know, good, or you can ride a bike cleanly or
Right.
not crash your car. But my point being is you can do those things by putting the effort into it. And, you know, like I said, a 1-year-old is scared to let go of mom and dad's hands and try walking.
Right.
But when you figure out, like, you don't walk around now holding mom and dad's hands, right?
No, sometimes you wish they wouldn't have started to learn how to
Right,
walk.
sometimes. Oh.
Kind of turns your life upside down for a little
Once
bit.
the kids start getting
mobile.
mobile, man, it's wild. That's something I tell you. But
Right. That's why it's nice having old enough kids that are kind of like almost self-sufficient now.
Yeah.
And just like let them do their own thing.
yeah, I get it. My kid's at goalie camp all week, so
Nice.
it makes you realize really fast they're growing up too fast because now he doesn't need me. He's not even home all week long, so
It's kind of weird though, isn't it?
it's weird.
Like you think all those times, you're like, oh, it'll be, kids won't be arguing, kids won't be with this. And then you're like, after the first day, you're like, it's kind of lame.
You know what killed me is when my son yesterday, my youngest, Caden's not going to be home this week. Like, super sad. I'm like, I literally looked at him. I was like, then why do you fight with him 24/7 when he's home? I don't know, Dad, but I miss him.
Oh, boy.
Got me. I'm like,
Got him.
oh, man. But, yep, that's what I know. So,
Oh, hey,
oh, Lord.
no, I actually didn't bring anything entertaining today for the fourth week in a row. Stella had tryouts for another play last
she?
night. She got the lead role. She's Nemo in Finding Nemo.
Did she?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's kind of cool. That's all.
Well,
I
tell
got
her
for-
congratulations
yeah.
because that's a pretty big deal.
She was pretty nervous going into it, and she's like, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get one of the top two roles. She got the top
That's
one.
awesome.
That's kind of sweet.
Good for
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, that's cool. We're going to end on that note. So thanks for tuning in to Talking Shop with ShopSabre. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Nick.
Until next time, keep talking shop.